All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, joined today by someone you may recognize from the chat, Gathering the Magic, who is another player in this game. And I just realized, Gathering the Magic, that you started roughly about the same time that I did in Splinterlands, actually a little bit before. So I want to welcome you to the channel, and if you could introduce yourself a little bit, talk about your channel, talk about how your experience with Splinterlands has been, and then we can get into a lot of the juicy details that have happened over the last couple of weeks in terms of where Splinterlands is going.
Okay, hey everyone, this is Gathering the Magic. Yeah, like After Sun said, I've been playing the game slightly long. My wife and I started mid-July. I think we started a day or two before the airdrop. As you can kind of tell by my name, I'm a Magic the Gathering collector. Was never really much of a player, but always a collector. Love to open packs, look for that chase card, put sets together. You can kind of guess my age a little bit when I tell you I started around Ice Age Revised. So back in 1995 is when I started getting into
Okay.
Magic. Fell in love with Splinterlands when I saw it. I was introduced to it through, I know you're into crypto. If you've ever seen a crypto show called Crypto Banter.
I don't think I've heard of Crypto Banter before.
Okay. They had a
But
couple
okay.
guys on that were playing Splinterlands. And I'm
Oh,
like,
really? Okay.
that looks really cool. So found the game, signed up, saw the similarities to Magic the Gathering, and just fell in love with the game. Yep, been playing every day ever since.
Now I'm curious because you said that you were for Magic the Gathering, you were more of a collector than a player. It's hard for me to wrap my head around that because I've never been like the collector mindset. But what were you doing with Magic cards? Did you just like opening packs and
Yep.
like collecting cards
Yeah.
for?
Yeah. Just
J-
trying to put a set together, just trying to get one of each card.
wow.
And
Okay.
they didn't have mythic rarities back then. It was
Hmm.
just common, uncommon,
Were
and
you
rare. And you got one
okay?
rare in a pack, and a lot of the sets would have like 121 rares. So you had to buy a lot of packs to put a set together.
And at the time, I remember it wasn't easy buying singles. You had to go and see
No.
individual stores and if they had it available, and then obviously
Yeah.
chalk up the price to whatever they had available. Wasn't nice some nice online marketplace where everybody could gather around.
Nope. This
No,
was pre-internet, if you can believe that.
mhm.
So yeah.
So I probably started playing Magic shortly after you. I it must have been like 2000 or 2001. So it wasn't Ice Age was a little bit before my time, but it was it was same kind of deal where just collecting cards. I like the gameplay of it, but it was always I don't think that I was really ever really a good player. I had friends that have been
Yeah,
playing
me
for a
neither.
couple of years, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the strategy of it, and it got me kind of into card games. And I had been playing like Pokemon, the card game, before
Okay.
that. Even though I never actually learned how to play the actual Pokemon
Mhm.
card game, we literally, my friends and I, we used to just buy the cards or get the cards, didn't care about energy, didn't care about anything. And it was just like we would follow what would happen with the TV shows. Right? It was just like, all right, I have this card in my hand. I choose you. So you go
Yeah.
in, and there's no strategy behind it. But Magic the Gathering kind of offered that first look at like, okay, this is 1v1. There's a way that you can build a deck. There's so many different strategies. The meta behind Magic the Gathering was very different than something like Pokemon. And so that started my interest in collectible card games overall. But it lasted maybe, I don't know, 5 to 8 years or so. And then I kind of just fell off of it for more traditional games. And then I kind of even stopped playing traditional games after that.
Yeah.
But enough about me. Let's go to your experience. You started right before the airdrop.
Hmm.
You had discovered it with or through Crypto Banter. So you're probably at about the 1 year mark. I'm going to hit my 1 year mark with Splinterlands in August, towards the end of August, actually. How are you feeling about this past year? And I know that's such an open-ended question,
Yeah.
but from what you've seen from the team, we've seen a very large boom cycle, and we're probably in the middle of a very large bust cycle right now. Like, what's your kind of like takeaways from just this your experience specifically in this first year?
This game reminds me so much of the beginnings of Magic the Gathering, where it was very small. There weren't a lot of players, weren't a lot of collectors. It was kind of limited. It wasn't out there in the mainstream. And then it just took off. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to happen here with Splinterlands because they've got a great team. They've got a great team, great
I do.
vision. They know what they want to do with the game. Like Agrod said, his mission statement is what? To spread peace, prosperity, and freedom.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many CEOs have a vision like that? That's just amazing. So yeah, I see this game really growing. I mean, I don't know when it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if I can tell you how Magic the Gathering exploded. Because like I said, this was pre-internet.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, there was TikTok or Twitter videos, talking about, oh, you got to play Magic the Gathering. It just kind of grew organically on its own. So I can see that happening here. And it might happen faster than people expect because now we do have the internet,
True.
and where
Yeah.
they're trying to partner with sports stars or celebrities, if they can get, let's just say, for example, The Rock. Let's say The Rock all of a sudden says, hey, check out this, and he's playing Splinterlands on his phone.
Mm-hmm.
Hint, update the app, then, that could really make this go viral very, very quickly. So yeah, I'm super excited about the future of this game.
So let's kind of pivot then to since we're talking about the future, we've had some major changes just this past summer. Finally got the rank rewards update. Looks like we have modern format coming up, and as was recently discussed, I'm curious to get your thoughts on the SPS ranked battle rewards and how you
Mhm.
feel about that completely replacing DEC. Because I in my mind I always had that coming in as something that would be given out on top of DEC, which is going to be minimal.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's interesting to see them change the tokenomics and the protocol behind DEC completely, and I don't know where this necessarily leads to. It makes me as a Bitcoin maxi, it makes me nervous whenever I see like teams just kind of completely upend
I
whatever
did
was in their
not
white
see
paper.
this coming at all.
Yeah.
I thought DEC was dead. And now after listening to that, I'm like, wait a minute. DEC is not going to be minted anymore. That is huge.
It is pretty huge. So how are you feeling about where DEC is? It sounds like you've changed some thoughts on DEC, and then where do you see kind of SPS going? And again, I'm not asking for like a price prediction, but
Yeah.
just how are you seeing the token being used? Because I never imagined it being used in the way that they're planning for it to be, like this reward currency almost.
I think it might be a mistake if people start spending all their DEC to purchase packs, especially with DEC being at what, 60 cents per thousand? Because it
Hmm.
sounds like they're trying to push hard to get it back to that $1.
Hmm.
If they do that, okay, that's a 40% game right there. And usually, if there's something new that teams are trying to do like this, they overshoot. So it's like, okay, we want to move it up. We want to move it to its peg. I can see it shooting past its peg. Not anywhere near what it did in the past, going 15x,
Yeah.
but I can see it going 2x. So this might be an opportunity if you have a lot of DEC, maybe you want to hang on to it for a little while and not just, burn it on packs when the airdrop ends, especially if you're in a
That's an
guild. I mean, use it,
interesting.
for
Yeah.
guild upgrades and things like that. But
That's an interesting way to look at it, because I think many folks were expecting for pack sales to really explode after the airdrop. And now I'm starting to rethink that thesis a little bit, because
yeah.
if people are incentivized to hold on to their DEC, and I even talked about this in a recent video where I bought a chunk of DEC as soon as it was announced. And again, that was a rash, emotional decision, but I tried to lay
Hmm.
out why I did it, because I felt like there was. Well, I mean, it's limited both upside and downside, but much more limited downside. And at the end of the day, I could just go buy packs if I wanted to. But I agree with you 100% that they are trying to get this thing back to its peg. And so now, if you're going to get people buying into the price of DEC to speculate on price appreciation, that could push it up there. But those people are then not buying packs, and that could slow down
Yeah.
pack sales.
Yeah. Same thing with SPS. I think SPS is extremely undervalued. I'm somewhere between you and Dwayne as
Mhm.
far as like bullishness. I know
I love
Dwayne,
that's the scale.
I think it's going to appreciate, but I think it's going to be a lot slower process.
Hmm.
I see it going much higher than it is now. I'm not too sure about the whole burning SPS for DEC mechanism. If people really want to, I mean, do you really want to burn a token that you think may go up a lot in the future just to get DEC? I mean, that's an individual choice, but I mean,
Well,
for me personally, I don't think I'll do that.
Well, see, therein lies the kind of like dilemma that each person's going to have, because I don't think that DEC is going to go 2x its peg again, but I don't know what I'm talking about. But you said that you could see DEC potentially going 2x its peg. Now, if that happens, if that happens, or it's currently in the process where it's 2x its peg, when SPS like burning for DEC becomes available, you can literally double your money overnight,
Hmm.
because it's not about how much SPS you need to burn. It's not like X amount of tokens, it's X amount of dollars worth of tokens.
Yeah.
So you could buy $1 worth of SPS at that point and then burn it for $2 worth of DEC.
Yeah. So
And
if it overshoots, it won't last long. No.
exactly right. And so that is meant to be kind of like the downside, or like the upside protection, so that DEC doesn't do a 15x on its peg at some point in the future. Because when that does, when that SPS burning does become, or it goes into effect, I mean, I would go in and do it. Like, why wouldn't I try to turn $1 into $2 when all I have to do is click a couple buttons, right?
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. And I'm not, the thing is, it's funny because I feel like people put Dwayne and I on opposite ends of the scale, but I think long term I'm very much aligned with Dwayne. I think that
Yeah.
I think that SPS can go incredibly high. And the thing is, I don't know that it's due to what the team is doing within the game itself, because I think there's just a crap ton of SPS that still needs to hit the market and still needs
Hmm.
to be diluted. But something that Matt had mentioned in the town hall yesterday was, all these other games and projects that they're working on, there might be potential airdrops for SPS holders. And I've
Yeah.
always looked at that as like, okay, this is something that I'm like kind of hedging my bets on and holding a lot of SPS for. And he literally said yesterday that this could be one of the biggest utilities of SPS. It's like, invest in the game, invest in SPS tokens, and then everything that the team does from here on out, you'll be rewarded for it. And
Hmm.
so in that way, you might get people who, again, have no interest in the game itself and whatever is happening in the game, who are a fan of XYZ artist on Warner Music label, or, XYZ sports team with whatever league they're doing a collaboration with. And it says like, hey, if you own, or, if you own and are staking 1,000 SPS in our game, you're going to get airdropped a free NFT for this new game. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden you have all these people who don't really care about Splinterlands at all, but they're interested in crypto. They're interested in Web3. They're going to come in and be like, yeah, I'll buy 1,000 SPS and stake it because I want a free NFT. And what does that do to the market? That could get a little crazy,
Yeah.
because these artists, these sports leagues, they have reach, right? And they have an audience that doesn't need to be interested in Splinterlands to really affect the Splinterlands market and economy.
Yeah. The more markets that they can get into, and the more, like you said, sports leagues, entertainers, and all that, the more people
Mm-hmm.
that they can get utility for SPS, the greater it's going to be. And especially the burn mechanism. I think people are overlooking that. I mean, they already burned how many SPS total? 20 million?
Yeah, 20, 30
Somewhere in
million,
there
something
just
like
for the
that. Yeah.
nodes. And the nodes are just getting started.
Mm-hmm.
So 20 million may not sound a lot compared to 3 billion, but in this brief amount of time to already burn 20 million tokens, I mean, that's huge. And especially now, if they're going to have the burning mechanism with SPS for DEC,
Mm-hmm. I
that's going
agree.
to take a lot off the market. Now, I think I asked you this previously, like in a couple of videos ago. Is any of the SPS getting burned with Rift Watchers, or is that just going into the DAO?
That's all going into the DAO as far as I know, and I don't think that
Okay.
has changed.
Okay.
So the DAO, I'm not even sure how much the DAO is holding right now, but I think that the DAO is going to come into effect later, and I really hope, when it does, that they, like, a lot of people are saying like, oh, we'll just vote to like burn more SPS, and I'm just like, burning SPS is not going to raise the price. Like, it's just, I understand the sentiment, but look at every major project out there. That, like, burning is just a marketing tactic, right? To say that
Yeah.
there's less available, but if there's less available of something that people don't want, it's not going to do anything to the
Mm-mm.
price. So that, for me, the big thing is like, they just need to put in some kind of utility. But now my thought process has switched quite a bit, because I was one of the people championing, and still to a certain extent championing, like, okay, like staking SPS for a certain amount of ECR, right? Or like ECR benefits or whatever types of things. And if, let's say, you have 1,000 SPS stake for this or 1,000 SPS stake for that, but that long term, if the game wants to get to like a 10 million player base, right, 10 million person player base, it's not really scalable if we're going to be burning SPS left and right.
Yeah.
So I've kind of rethought that, and in my mind, it's like, okay, the team really isn't going that route for SPS utility, right? They're trying to give SPS's utility through DEC. So DEC gets burned through guilds and potentially like land in the future. And then now, since there's no like fountains for DEC, the only way that you can get them is by burning SPS. So you have to buy SPS, to burn that SPS for DEC to then
Yeah.
go through and do things within the game. And that's a different way to approach it, which I kind of like because it adds a lot of upside to the SPS token. And it's not just people buying and kind of holding it. It's like, okay, we have to continually buy it to use it for certain things.
Yeah, to use it for the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how that's going to play out over time. I think it's a good idea. I think it's a unique idea. They obviously
Mm-hmm.
learned from the whole Luna incident that they need to tie it to some assets in the game, something
Yeah.
that has value. So I think they did really good on that aspect of it.
Yeah, the only thing that makes me nervous about it is the fact that both externally and internally, like it's tied to like Luna. So like on the external part, it's just like people are gonna look at this and be like, "Yo, did these guys not learn from Luna?" And they avoid the project like the plague because a lot of people got burned with Luna. So the moment they say like, "Oh, like these tokenomics are kind of based on Luna," yeah, I'm not gonna touch this project with a 10-foot pole. And then on the internal side, I'm still not convinced that again, this is not that I don't trust the team. It's just Luna grew to be a multi-billion-dollar project and have like crazy high market cap. I think it was like a top 3, top 4 project at one point, and it had a fatal flaw within it
Yeah.
that nobody recognized until like it was too late. And so I have that kind of anxiety now where I'm just like, okay, well, this is great, and I just hope that there isn't some fatal flaw that's discovered only when we reach like a certain level of success that could crash the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I had some Luna last year. I think I bought in when it was somewhere around $6, and
Oh, nice.
it got up to like 27, 28, and I'm like, oh, that's good enough for me. I'm out. And then I saw it go up to like 80, 90, 100, and I'm like, oh, I should have hold. And then when it crashed, I'm like, okay, I didn't do too bad getting out at 27.
No, you didn't.
So
Not at all.
there's another advice for any crypto people out there: lick your ice cream, take your profits, don't get greedy.
I like that. Lick your ice cream before it melts. That's something that I think I learned well in this last bull run was taking profits because I don't know when you first got into crypto. And we can maybe segue into this, but like I first foray into crypto for me was 2017 with that bull run, and I was very much like the hodl mentality. Like I hodled everything, didn't sell anything at that point,
Hmm.
and it was just like when I bought it, I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna buy this and see what happens in 5 years, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so here we are, like 5 years later. But how about you? How and when did you first get into, I guess, the crypto side of things?
Uh, Knew about Bitcoin for years and years, going back to probably 2013, 2014, but I never really got into crypto until probably the end of 2020, a
Hmm.
little bit. Just tried to learn about it. I didn't really understand how it worked, what it was. Didn't really buy a whole lot of Ethereum or Bitcoin just because they were so pricey. So I looked at a lot of the smaller tokens,
Yep.
um, Matic, Theta, XLM, XRP, those type of tokens that were around $1 or under $1. I figured those had the most potential for growth. So last
Hmm.
couple of years, just trying to learn about what projects are good, what projects are bad, which ones have utility. Like
Yeah.
you said, you can't just simply look at how many tokens there are for each coin. Like, oh, this one has 10 million, this one has 10 billion. I'm going to buy the one that has 10 million since it's a lot lower. Well, maybe the project has no use or it's not a viable
Hmm.
project. It doesn't matter how many tokens there are. So yeah, just trying to learn about crypto. Basically, I use Coinbase,
Coinbase is
like
solid
probably most
here
people do, and
in the US.
store some of my coins on Exodus Wallet. So
Gotcha. All right. Cool. Cool.
learning,
Well,
getting started, and I advise everybody: hey, if you don't know about crypto, now's the time to.
now is a great time to learn. Actually, you're right. Did you? So did you discover Splinterlands through the gaming side or the crypto side, or was it kind of a mix of both?
I think it was a mix of both. I mean, I mentioned crypto banter is when I
Hmm.
joined, but that reminded me. I think I saw it. I want to say around February or March of 2019. My wife and I were living in an apartment. We were just getting ready to move into our new house. And I remember seeing, and I'm pretty sure, I'm 99% sure it was Splinterlands. I don't know how I
Hmm.
came across it. And I saw it and I was about to join it. And it was like, okay, you've got to buy like a $10 spell book to get started. And the first thing I thought is, we're just going to move into a house. Do I really want to spend $10, get hooked on a game, and end up spending a few hundred or a few $1,000s on this game?
Yeah.
So I passed. And now looking back, it's like, okay, if I had joined then, that was probably when alpha and beta were still out.
Yep.
That's before land. And I can tell you right now, if land was $20 or whatever, I would have bought a couple $100 here and there for land.
Yeah.
Oh, what could have been?
What could have been.
So that's why this
Well,
game right now reminds me so much of Magic the Gathering. I mean, even the set names, Alpha,
mhm,
Beta, you've got Untamed instead of Unlimited. So the way that I look at the game right now is we're in the revised Ice Age phase where the game
okay.
is taken off. We had that big jump last year, that big growth spurt. Now it's
Mhm.
kind of leveled off a little bit, and that's kind of like what happened in around 95, 96. Magic the Gathering kind of leveled off. And then when Urza Saga came out around 1998 is when it really became mainstream and took off. So I'm not saying it's going to be 2 more years, but it can happen very quickly because this game really doesn't have a whole lot of player base. I mean, you have what,
Mhm.
maybe 20, 30,000 players? That's nothing. I
Yeah.
mean, Magic the Gathering has what, 10, 15 million? When this game hits
Something like that, yeah.
250,000 people, watch out.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, we see the numbers of like 130,000 active players. I know a good chunk of that, a majority of that is probably bots, but again, that there's a bearish sentiment to that, and there's a bullish sentiment. And the bullish sentiment is the fact that like there's just not a lot of people playing this.
Yeah,
And
nobody knows about the game.
exactly. And the
Yeah.
fact that like I love it means that there's probably other like weird nerds out there who love it as well, right? And so it's just a
Mhm.
matter of them discovering it and getting into the ecosystem. And so I don't think that we cap out at 20,000 players or 30,000 real
No,
players. I think this is something that can
absolutely not.
grow. And like you said, I think the team is doing a good job of really branching out there, and finding interesting partnerships that may work, may not work. I mean, the Waka thing. See, the thing with like Waka, for example, it's just like, yeah, sure, that collaboration didn't really work, but there's a cool card that's part of the
Yeah.
game now, and so like as a player, that's kind of a cool thing that happened.
Mhm.
But again, like there's so many other things. Not every marketing initiative is going to succeed, and if you're gonna judge like an entire company by like one decision that they make, that I don't think had much, again, it's not like a make or break situation. So even with like the Warner Music thing or the sports leagues, I look at this stuff and I'm just like, I don't know what will come of that, but I do know that we might get some cool stuff out of it, right? So
Yeah.
as players, it could make things fun and interesting.
Honestly, I never heard of Waka. I had no idea who that was.
Oh man, I I
So I'm
went
like,
on
if I
a
don't know who he is, I don't know how many other people do, or however many people don't know
uh
Waka.
I
Who's
I
this?
went this is a long time ago, but I went on a bachelor party in 2011, and his song was somehow the theme song of that bachelor party. So that one song, I think "No Hands" was like, it's literally burned into my memory because you just kind of associate like music sometimes with like a
Mhm.
trip or whatever, and it's just like it
Yeah.
was played too many times almost. It's a catchy song, I like it,
Yeah.
but it's funny like when Waka was announced, I was just like, oh my god, it's like my past coming back to haunt me. I haven't heard about this guy since 2011, and now here we go. But speaking of changes to the game, or some unique twist, I feel like you have some interesting suggestions that you've been kind of putting out there into the space, and I figured it'd be good for us to chat here. And I'm glad that you had reached out to kind of cover it. But did you want to share your screen and go to that, and then we can kind of walk through some of the ideas that you have?
I was going to do that, but I know you also mentioned, like, at some point, just talking a little bit about my channel. So I've made a
Oh
couple
yeah, let's do that
videos
first.
on my channel where people can go and get all this information. I'll go over it with you kind of quickly. I mean, I could talk about this for half an hour, and I don't want to bore everybody to death. But the ideas that I had were just
You
for
won't.
lock, loot, chest, keys, and power potions. So the
Okay.
first one I'll go over is
Wait,
the
don't get into that. Let's talk about your
okay.
channel more. Let's talk
Oh,
about your
okay.
channel more. That
Oh,
was my bad. We jumped the gun. So how long has your channel been active? What are you trying to do with it? Like content
um,
wise? And how can people find you? Is it just gathering the magic?
it's just gathering the magic. I think Jacqueline, you know Jacqueline, the big
Hmm.
supporter for your channel,
Yeah, she's
she
great.
mentioned that there was someone else that has my exact same name, Gathering the Magic.
I
So,
did see that. Yeah.
yep. So just go to my name, Gathering the Magic. I think I've got 120 subscribers. You'll see it's all Splinterlands content.
Mhm.
So I do have a video there, a couple videos on
I will
my
make sure
ideas.
to link. I will make sure to link directly to your channel in the description below.
Okay, great. Thanks. I appreciate that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just started maybe a month ago. Like I said, I'm new to this. I don't, as you can tell, don't even have a webcam. So, but yeah,
I
you
thought
and
maybe
Wayne and Luke
shy.
and Steve and the guys have just kind of inspired me to just start making content on my own. Real simple content, 5-minute videos, just going over my 3 accounts that I have,
Mm-hmm.
my daily rewards, season rewards, talk about my strategies for my bronze account. I'm doing an account where you put in $10 for the spell book, and then that's it.
Fun.
So I'm not delegating any cards. I'm not sending any DEC over. I'm not buying any credits, not putting any additional money into the game, and just seeing, okay, how can I make this account stand on its own, continue to earn cards, continue to win, gather resources, that type of thing. And is it even possible now with the changes? Because it's
Mm-hmm.
going to make it a lot harder to earn cards if now you're getting 10% merits. So now your card rates
Yeah.
drop from 33% to 23%. So it's going to be a lot harder to grow the account. But yeah, that's just how I've gotten started so far. I'm not sure in the future what we're going to do with the channel. Maybe like you, go into specific topics and my thoughts on like the future of SPS, DEC, the
Mm-hmm.
direction of the game. I'm sure I'll have like more suggestions, like land, things I think they can do with land to make it more exciting. Just things like that. Just growing the channel right now. But like I said, I've only been going for about a month, so I have to have maybe 40 or 50 videos up. But
Cool.
yep.
Well, hey, like we all start somewhere, so definitely gonna try and make sure, guys, if you're not already subscribed to Gathering the Magics, please make sure to check the description below and go and show some support. I mean, I'm a big fan of any and everyone just creating content. I mean, stuff that's like authentically you, and there's just a void for stuff like this, and
Yeah.
I just appreciate the fact that the hive mind of this community. I don't know if it's hive mind is the word, but like there's so many intelligent people here with really creative ideas,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to put those out there. We know that the team listens to feedback. We know that the team is in the like town halls literally every week
Every
interacting with the
week.
community. And so, I'm one of those people that believes like the best idea wins, right? And
Yeah.
so I'm excited about that with the DAO specifically because, we'll get into some of the ideas that you have here, and I'm sure many ideas that you'll have on your channel in the future when different things, like you said, land get released. But if there's cool ideas out there, now not only will someone like myself be able to talk about it, I'll be able to go, make a proposal for it in the SPS DAO and then vote with my dollars, right? Well, not my dollars,
Mm-hmm.
but my SPS essentially by saying like, hey, I think this is a good idea. Like, how many other people think it's a good idea? And maybe we'll get a bunch of people to come through, and maybe someone's going to come and say, I like it, except maybe I want this one tweak. And then everyone's just like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, this one tweak makes a ton of sense. But it's that kind of collaboration that I think could really drive this project forward in the long run.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of good ideas that I see like in the chat for all the videos for Splinterlands from all the different creators.
Mm-hmm.
So guys, if you have ideas, reach out to Aftersound, reach out to Dwayne, reach out to other content creators, get on the stream and just share your ideas. I mean, that's how we're going to improve this game and make it grow. I mean, this is a decentralized game. So it's up to us to provide our feedback and get the game to grow.
Yeah, and I think that's important to say, especially after the town hall again yesterday, because one of the things that Matt said was like we're trying to build something that's never been done before, where a game is completely owned by its players and its player base. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't ever see like Agro and Matt giving up complete control, but that's because of the fact that they're probably going to be the biggest asset holders in the game.
Yeah.
But if you come along with a great idea and can get the community to go along with you, I think that there's a lot. Yeah, again, I'm not trying to be. I didn't mean to be like combative about it. It's not like you're going to be going up against the founders of the game. It's just if you come up with a cool idea and there's enough like momentum behind it, I think it's very possible that those ideas get implemented. So definitely make sure to share them, whether it's through video, whether it's through like the Splinter Talk or Peak D blogs, like however you feel comfortable in doing it. But for Gathering the Magic, I appreciate the fact that you are putting out videos now and trying to get this stuff out there and get people to recognize the possibilities, I should say.
Yeah. Yep.
So did you want to share your screen and go over things, or do you just want to talk through it?
I'll just talk through it. I think it'll be easier. Okay. Plus, that way too, if people want to go to my channel and check out the videos, I've got all the content there.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you for pick. I'm gonna ask you for this as well. So in addition to the channel that I'll link to, whatever we discuss here, if you could send me the specific videos, and I'll try to add those into the description as well. So if
Okay.
something catches somebody's attention here,
Yeah.
they can go directly to where they want to go to for that.
Okay. Definitely will do. I know there was a lot of talk in the last couple of weeks. I mean, there's so much new news coming out. It seems like one thing hits and then you forget about it when the next new information drops. But one of the things people were talking about 2 or 3 weeks ago was the ECR potions and different ideas for that. You know, whether there should be a potion that sets your ECR back to 100%, whether there's potions that should add like 20 or 25% to your ECR, you know, that kind of thing. I had the idea of a power potion. And what that is it's a 15, 30-minute, or 1-hour potion that prevents your ECR from going down. So whatever your ECR is currently at, let's say you get a half-hour potion, you can play for a half an hour and your ECR will stay at that amount. So if you're at 100%, you can play for half an hour and it stays at 100%.
It's like an ECR freeze.
Like a
How do
freeze.
you? Okay. Well, first thought is, how do you prevent that from being abused by somebody buying 48 potions per day or something like that?
They are extremely rare to get. You are lucky to get one. You're
Okay,
lucky
so
to
this.
get one in a season, let alone be able to stack them. And also, they're only found in lock loot chest, were another idea that I had. And they're
Okay, so
bind on
these are not
acquire.
purchasable.
No. And they're
Okay.
bind on
Okay.
acquire. So if you have like someone that has like 20, 30, 40 different bot accounts trying to farm these things, they're bind on account. So you can't like send them all to one account and stack them.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
So
I
that
can get
was one
behind that.
idea. So I thought, you know, that way they could take out, because everybody hates opening a chest. I got one alchemy potion, or oh, I got one legendary potion, or I got one DEC. So I was thinking, okay, what kind of potion could they add that people actually want? So I think that was a good, the ECR potion.
Yeah, I like it because of the fact that everybody has a grind session every now and then, and if you have one of those in your back pocket, you can there'll always be utility for it, because it's just
Yep.
like, oh, like I know that I'm gonna have the next 30 minutes free. Let me get my ECR to a respectable level, or like something that I'm comfortable with, and then just go hard at it for
Yeah.
the next 30 minutes. So that's always gonna have utility, and I like the fact that there's nothing there's no way to acquire it for dollars, because then it can't really be gamed. You got to just earn it by playing. You still there with me?
Oh, just locked up for a second. Okay, you're back.
Okay.
Yeah, like I was saying, and another thing too, like the 1-hour power potions would only be found in the highest tier chests. Like they would only be
Okay.
found in Diamond and Champion. So that's kind of another way you can kind of not really force people, but kind of encourage people to move up in the leagues. Like maybe the 15-minute power potion is only found in bronze and silver. Gold could be the half hour, and then Diamond and Champion, the 1-hour power potion. So the higher that you go up, the longer that you can, the longer these potions will last for you.
Yeah.
And they are stackable. I mean, if you get one in a lock loot chest and you want to save it until you get your next one, so it's like, well, I'd like to have like 3 hours worth, so maybe on a Saturday or Sunday I can grind for 3 hours. Okay, good luck. You're going to have a long wait trying to get 3 of these potions, but once you do, then yep. And like you said, for the exploit purposes, I think they need to be bound to account.
Yeah, well, I think that's important, and I think what we're going to see is more bound to account stuff potentially in the future, because they're pushing people towards like the Gladius cards, and they're pushing people towards guilds, but like Gladius cards, which are a part of that, those aren't NFTs, right? They're not tradable between accounts, and you can't buy them. So I really like the idea of like there being assets within the game that you can use or level up and kind of progress without anybody being able to game the system. And so I think it's very possible for them to implement some kind of a potion like this, power potion, where again you can't buy it, so it's not like an economical thing. It's just you play the game, and this is one of the rewards you get that could benefit you in the future.
Yeah, I thought about maybe suggesting that they could put it like in a voucher store and purchase with vouchers, but then I thought, no, there's people that have way too many vouchers. It would be too easy to just buy hundreds of these things and kind of exploit the system. So that's why I think they should only be found in something that is extremely rare. Now, another thing is these are only found in lock loot chests.
Yeah, let's get into that.
Lock loot chests, I think, could be something that you could actually put on the market. So if you wanted to try to
Okay.
get power potions and there's lock loot chests on the market, you could say, well, I might buy this because maybe there's one in there. And I was thinking maybe at like a
Okay.
10% drop rate per lock loot chest for a power potion, so that you can get them, but it's not like everyone's going to have one in there.
Mm-hmm.
So, you have to have some kind of a rarity in there to give it value. But yeah, the lock loot chests, I were thinking, let's get rid of the alchemy potions, the legendary potions, and all cards that are only 1 BCX. So
Is
you're
this at the higher levels or just at all levels?
all levels. So
Okay.
all levels of loot chests would have 5 items, regardless if it's bronze all the way to champion. And of
Okay.
course, as you scale up, the rewards get better. But even at bronze, I was thinking, like commons max out at what, level 3?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's like 14 cards. So let's say you opened a lock loot chest, you got a card. That card's going to be anywhere from 2 to, let's say, 10 BCX.
BCX. Okay.
So you're not getting just one of a card. You're going to get multiple of it. Now, if it's a rare or an epic, maybe the rare would be 1 or 2 BCX. Epic and legendary would still say 1 for bronze. As you scale up,
Okay.
then maybe the cards would scale up slightly from there.
What if they would have like completely different rewards cards that were only available in lock loot chests?
Exactly. I was thinking of that too, like a
That's it. Okay.
subset of cards that are only available in lock loot chests, or maybe Chaos Legion or whatever the current set is. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not like you're just going to get reward cards. You could open it and get a Chaos Legion card, or coming up a Rift Watcher card, that type of thing.
Now, how do you unlock the loot chest?
Keys. I think I
Okay.
had 5 different keys. I was thinking the basic key I would just call like a skeleton key, and all that does is just unlock the chest. It doesn't give any bonuses. It doesn't modify the items at all. It's simply use the key disappears, you open the chest. Now, those keys, I think they could put on like a store of some kind, maybe a voucher store or
Okay.
SPS, like one voucher is 1 skeleton key, or 5 SPS is 1 skeleton key. Because of course, when you get your first chest, how do you open it? You have to have a key. So they
Yeah,
have to
I was
have it
wondering how
available
people
in the
get the keys
store.
then. Okay.
Yeah. From there, the different keys I had in mind were a golden key, where you use the golden key, any cards in that chest that you open, any of those 5 items, it will
Mm-hmm.
turn the card gold. So if you were going to get a rare card, it would turn it to a gold rare. If you were going to get an epic, it'll turn it into a gold epic.
Oh, okay.
If you were going to get a key, it will turn the key to a golden key. So you're basically replacing that key.
Oh, so you can still get keys within
You
the
can get
lock loot
keys
chest.
within the lock loot
Okay.
chests. In fact, the keys all scale up all to the highest tier I call the legendary key.
Mm-hmm.
And that's only found in the highest level chests. And what it does is it turns 3 of the 5 items to the max tier of whatever that item is. So let's say you had a card in that chest, it'll turn that card legendary. If you had DEC, it'll turn that DEC to whatever range they have for top tier DEC. I don't know where it
Yeah.
starts at, like
Well,
10,000.
this will be SPS in the future now.
Yep, SPS. So whatever range of SPS, it would
Mm-hmm.
range that. If you were going to get a half-hour power potion, it'll bump it to a 1-hour power potion. And if you were going to get a key, no matter what tier, it will turn it to a legendary key. So you would
Okay.
replace the legendary key that you used. So legendary keys are extremely powerful, extremely rare.
I mean, it's so beautifully complicated. I like it, and I like the idea of there being this. You can only earn it by actually playing the game, but
Yeah.
then you can also only unlock it by using maybe some of your earnings from playing the game.
Mhm.
I don't know if you follow Steppin at all. I do some Steppin content here and there, but they have similar kind of like mystery boxes where you need to pay part of the reward currency that they give you as a way to unlock these mystery boxes. And so what that essentially does, it burns that currency. And now I'm just thinking about any and all ways that we can burn more DEC,
Mhm.
because I want people to then in turn burn SPS for that DEC, and in the long run help the SPS price and supply.
Yeah.
So whether it's a voucher store or whether it's like using SPS or DEC to buy the keys, I think is a good way to go about it.
Yeah. And I want only the skeleton key to be purchasable because the other ones will have value. And I think they all should be able to be traded on the marketplace. So let's say
Hmm.
you open a gold chest and you get a golden key. And it's like, well, I don't know when I'm going to get another lock loot chest. I'm just going to take this golden key, put it on the marketplace, and try to sell it, get some money for it. And then I can buy some cards that I want, that type of thing.
Hmm.
Because all these chests are going to have value, whether you're in the lower tiers or the higher tiers.
Hmm.
So they all have value. And like I said, they should be extremely rare to get. I'm thinking like maybe you get one every other season. They're
Okay.
that rare so that when you see one, hey, I got something good. I want to hang on to it. I don't want to just open it with a skeleton key that I bought off the store. Maybe you have to because it's your first one. But I want to use a higher tier key if I can get one to make whatever's in that chest even better.
So uh, it sounds like the chests would be tradable NFTs
Yes.
because you could sell those if you didn't want them. Would the keys then be NFTs as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So if you got a
Because
legendary key and for some reason you wanted to sell it, you could probably get a decent amount for it. Yep, by putting
okay.
it on the marketplace. And that way too, let's say you're in silver and there's no way for you to get a 1 hour power potion because you're not at that tier. If you buy a legendary key and you use it on your lock loot chest at silver, you could upgrade one of those items to max, which would be, if you get one, a power potion.
Hmm.
So even though by your league you're limited to a 15-minute power potion, a legendary key will bump that up to a 1 hour power potion. So legendary keys are going to
Interesting.
have a
Okay.
lot of value on the market.
This is something that I feel would only be possible if and when we get like this non-card market up and running and
Yep.
kind of efficient.
Hmm.
Because right now I feel like one of the biggest barriers is like the fact that you have to do so much on Hive Engine, and there's just so many there's so much there's so much on Hive Engine, so many like random tokens that I don't even know what's going on there.
Yeah.
And so having everything kind of in one central place, which would be within the game, I think would be important, especially for a lot of new players coming in. So hopefully once we get that, they can implement certain ideas like this where now there's a bunch of tradable NFTs that don't have to be tokenized and sent
Hmm.
to a third party place like Hive Engine.
Yeah. I was trying to think of some items beside, just cards and land plots
Hmm.
when land becomes available and plots can be put on the marketplace. I'm like, what else could you possibly put on the market besides land plots? And this is what I thought of, keys, lock loot chest, other NFTs, so that
Yeah.
it's not simply cards and land and nothing else, just to give some more variety to the marketplace.
I mean, I think that that's a fantastic idea because chests essentially would be like packs, right? And
Hmm.
so,
Yeah.
according to whatever protocol the team sets, there would be X amount issued every season based on like the player base or how many battles are going on, right? So you got
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
X amount of battles to get one per account. And sure, I guess the way that I look at that is it could be there could be some exploits because then bots getting these accounts would be able to, or bots would be able to get like one every other season. And depending on how much they go for, those could be like golden goose eggs. But
Hmm.
at the same time, if what you're putting in there isn't like,
But they have to have a voucher to unlock that chest, and if they don't have vouchers, they can't
mhm,
unlock it to get what's in it. So that's
true,
kind
true.
of a small barrier for them. But yeah, I see what you're
Well,
saying.
the thing is that they could just go and sell the chests, right?
Yeah.
So, but again, this is all of it's still interesting for me, and I think that there's definitely something here that could add a sense of progression and reward to the game, right? Because it's just like, okay, when you play X amount of games that you get is it a guaranteed drop rate? Because I remember
No,
seeing so it's there's
no,
no guaranteed drop rate
there's
because I
no
remember seeing like
guarantee.
a one in X type of
No.
thing.
No, just kind of a range. Like I was thinking bronze, maybe 1 in 5,000 chests, but even that might be too high because
Hmm.
there's so many people playing bronze and bronze accounts. Maybe it
Yeah.
needs to be 1 in 15,000. Or like you said, maybe the team would just say, okay, in a season we're going to have maybe 50 bronze loot chests drop total. That's it. And 50
Okay.
for silver, 50 for gold. If they want to do something like that, I just wanted them to be extremely rare, so
Okay.
that when you get one, you have value. I mean, you may even forget about them. You may be opening your season rewards, you get 80 chests, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, what's that? This one has a different icon. It's shaking. Oh my God, that's a lock loot chest.
Yeah.
Oh, now I got to go buy a key. Oh, just to add some excitement to the game. But it's not something that you're going to see very often.
I mean, I like it because there's two ways to go about it, right? It's like either you make it or you kind of give it one of those drop rates where it's not guaranteed for your account, but it's just on average or on aggregate, like if it is like a 1 in 5,000 chests type of thing for bronze. But at the same time, it would also be interesting if even if the player base continues to scale up, you have something like a you have something like a well, we're only doing 50 of these chests every season, and it doesn't matter how
Hmm.
many players are going to
Doesn't
be,
matter
but
how
there's
many
only going to be
players. Yeah.
50. And so now it's just like, okay, right now, like you have a good chance, but in like a year or two, when the player base maybe does another X or two, all of a
Hmm.
sudden it's like winning the lottery, right?
Yeah.
And so in the
That's
same way
exactly what I wanted him to be.
some people, in Champion get that 600,000 DEC chest, it would be really cool to have that, but also available at the lower leagues as well. But again,
Mhm.
on a very low like drop rate, right? So that
Yeah.
even if you're running some massive bot farm, which I'm not as worried about in the future, but it's just like, well, they're capped at how much they can get
Hmm.
value from this,
Yeah.
and hopefully it won't all be going to like one person.
Hmm. I do like what you said too about maybe if they could add, as if they don't have enough things to do already, like a small subset of cards that are only available in lock loot chests, kind of like a
Hmm.
Gladius type of card that you could level up to. Because the more things that you add to the game where you have to work on it and it's not something that can be done quickly,
Hmm.
it draws players in. And it's like, okay, I got this to level 2. How long before I can get this to level 3? And it makes you want to keep playing and keep progressing. So the more things that they could do like that, I think the better, just for retention.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like they could do it as a promo card, right? Where and again, I know that they want to do these promo cards as a way to like make sales and do partnerships and collaborations, but it's almost like every I don't know, every couple of seasons they change out whatever card is available in this drop rate. And then all of a sudden now there's only ever going to be X amount of max copies of maybe some like legendary card that you get in these locked loot chests. You know what I mean?
Oh.
And so now that card is incredibly rare. There's only going
Hmm.
to be a few people who can play with it. And it's either did you do the work to get, a copy of it? Did you get were you playing the game in order to
Yeah.
get it? Or, if you want it, you're going to have to buy it from somebody who was playing the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That would be interesting if they had cards that I remember in the sports card world, they have like numbered cards that are
Hmm.
inserts where there's 1 of 100 or something like that. If they did that in Splinterlands, I don't know how would that work. If you had like certain only like 1,000 of them and that's it, and you can only get them in lock loot chests. Would you make
Yeah.
those common? Would
There,
you make those legendary? Oh,
there's so many ideas. I love it,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
All right. What else you got? Anything beyond the power potion and the lock loot chest?
No, that's pretty much it. Like I said,
Okay.
just the basic mechanics were, I wanted them to be extremely rare. 5 items. I mean, to me, if it's a chest, there should be more than one thing in it. To
Hmm.
just get one card or one potion is kind of like, you get this, at least you've got,
Yeah.
5 things that you're going to get out of them. Different level keys just to give you different options. A couple of the other keys that I had were I couldn't think of a good name for them, so I just called them level 1, 2, and 3 upgrade keys. And
Hmm.
all that does is it upgrades either 1, 2, or 3 items in the chest by 1 tier. So common would become a rare would
Yep.
become an epic. Your DEC would bump up a little bit. If you were going to get a power potion, your 15-minute would become a half hour, that type of thing. So
I like the idea of power potions. Like, I mean, I know we're getting kind of crazy with like, oh, you can get you can get cards and what other potential that they decide to drop in there in the future. But I think just the idea of getting power potions in the game could be an
yeah.
interesting thing, right? Where again, like power potions themselves won't be tradable assets, but if you want to kind of gamble on buying a chest off the
Hmm.
secondary market for a power potion,
Yep.
that I don't know, that to me could get some people who, and Agron mentioned this a while back, where it's like, what about the people who just want to grind on a weekend,
Yeah.
right? Like how do we do something to help their ECR? Well, this is one way in which it's
Exactly.
just like, it's not gonna, for people who want to play like for only 2 days straight, like, yeah, it's not gonna help, but it will save you some ECR and allow for some extra earnings. So I'm a big fan of that. You still with me? Gathering the magic. Oh no, I think we've lost him. You there?
Yep. You're
There
back.
he is.
I
All
just
right, cool.
lost you for a few seconds.
All good. We'll see. Maybe I'll go in and cut that part out. Maybe I won't, just to show that this is real life. This is what happens with the
Yep,
internet.
we are real.
We
Oh,
are
I have
real.
to ask you, how is your Pelacor Bandit army going?
We've stopped recruitments
Okay.
for the army, so it's kind of going. I mean, I have some. I don't know. I think I have like 4,000 or something like right now. Again, there was nothing. People were just like, "Oh, this is like." I think everybody thought that I was trying to like make some kind of like weird investment advice on it, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
no, I don't even know that it's the best card of its class because I like Pelacor Mercenary and I like Pelacor Conjurer too, but
Yeah.
I just wanted to have like a card that I was like stacking.
Yeah.
But then the price went up, and I said that I will literally not buy a single one if it's over a penny. I'm only going to buy them if they're a penny. And so I
Yeah.
think when I started announcing that, all of a sudden they started going to like 1.1, 1.2 cents. And I was like, yeah, okay, well, I'm done with this.
Oh, that's funny.
Now they're back down to a penny. And so sure, I'll buy one here and there, but I'm actually in the process now with Modern finally being here. I'm in the process of trying to at least get my deck maxed for gold because it's not even there. And so I look at this, I'm just like, oh, I spent so much stupid money on these Pelacor Bandits. It's like I could have been spending them on my deck, right? And so now I'm just kind of like rethinking that whole strategy. But I don't know. I have like 4,000 of them, and if I can get my deck to a place where I feel like it's fun to play with, then I'll probably buy some more. But I don't know what their print rate is at right now. But I like the fact. Let me put it this way, and people will probably end up taking this as some kind of investment advice, but it's not. It's just the way that I'm looking at it. I just like the fact that we know that there is a finite time in which those will go out of print.
Mm-hmm.
And so, sure, I am buying them not because I want to keep them forever. I'm buying them because I do believe that once they're out of print, they could appreciate in value. How much, I don't know, and how quickly, I don't know. But the fact that we can kind of track the rewards cards and where they are in their print rate life just means to me that like, okay, well, I can buy SPS and I can buy other assets, and I don't know when the next bull market is coming, right? For example, I don't know, like, Bitcoin decides to just sleep until 2024, then that'll be that, and maybe SPS kind of stays in the dumps until then. But I do know that cards have value and utility, and if I want to get more of these cards, that they're going to be out of print by X date, just based on the amount that are being printed right now. So, if I'm buying them for a penny, I think they will be more than a penny. And even if it's just a 2x or 3x, I can always cash out at a time when I know that it will happen most likely before the next bull run. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Now, are you going to combine them at all? Or are you going to
No.
just try to resell them one at a time?
No, like I said, I'm buying them all for a penny, and if they go
Okay.
up to 3 cents, then I'm just like, yo, I made a 3x on this.
Yeah.
If they go up to 30 cents, the way that they had, before the big crash, then that's a 30x. But again, for me, it's kind of why I've stopped, because I'm just like, they're not really doing anything for me. I can't rent them out. Nobody really wants them. So
Yeah.
it's like I bought a bunch and I was converting my vouchers into them for a while, but now I'm trying to focus on, like I said, I'm trying to focus on maxing out my deck. And the problem with this game is there are always things to buy.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah. I want more of everything.
I'll never have enough. So part of me is just like, okay, before I start doing kind of silly things like the Pelacor Bandit army, or open recruiting back up for the Bandit army, let me get my deck to a place where I want to play at. And obviously long term that's Diamond, but that's also like a significant investment further into the game. So medium term goal is just getting maxed for gold and being able to play in gold when Modern finally comes out. And my hope is that the competition will be a little less fierce in Modern format. So even with a gold level deck, I will be able to stretch into Diamond, mid to end of season. So
yeah,
that's
my
kind of where I'm
card,
at.
I don't know why I picked it. Well, I know you have the Bandit. I think Luke has the Gargoyle Lion. I picked the Vampire Bat.
Yep,
For
I
one
like it.
reason, it's like, why is the Vampire Bat a green card? Why is it not death?
Why is it not death? That's a good point, actually.
And it's funny because I think it was Furious Chicken in the chat said, "Oh, you're collecting vampire bats. You're the Batman." And it's just funny because Batman's my favorite hero. So I'm like, oh, that kind of fits. So I think I'm up to, I don't know, 12 or 1,300 vampire bats. So
there you go. How much are they going for right now? I think they're going for like a penny.
They're a penny. Right? They're right around a penny.
I
don't think it's as good as the Bandit, but I think it's a pretty good card. I mean, having flying and dodge at the higher levels.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I think it's actually a great card. I'm just again, I haven't focused on the new rewards cards yet because I was like, those will be in print for a while. But it's definitely a card that I want to have because for non-magic games, I think it's incredible as
mhm,
like a non-magic low mana game. I
yeah,
think you'll have you'll be able to throw him in there. The thing is he's not really great with obsidian because I feel like I
no,
was saying it's not good for magic, but for whatever other summoners we get in the future, there might be better plays out there.
yeah,
Whether that's like the legendary summoner or the upcoming Riftwatcher summoner, there might be interesting ways to use him. And I like the fact that the legendary summons are only 6 mana because you can actually play them in some of these low mana games and then throw someone like a vampire bat in there who's like impossible to hit.
hmm. So,
So,
have you had any thoughts yet on what do you think the summoners are going to be? Like, what type of stats will be in Rift
uh,
Watchers? Since
so
they're
they,
epic, right? So,
yeah, they're epic. I mean, I have no idea what the stats will be. I think my initial thoughts, and I was literally thinking about this on the spot while I was recording the video yesterday, was five. They could be 5 mana, right? If they could be 5 mana if the team wanted to kind of split the difference between
yeah,
rare and legendary summoners. That could make sense. If they want to go a different route with it, though, they had 2 mana epic summoners previously that had no abilities, and so now I'm wondering if they will do something like a 3 mana, or yeah, maybe like a 3 mana epic summoner that has like 2 abilities, for
two
example.
abilities. Yeah,
So
I could see
those,
that. One is like a stat boost, and then another one's an ability. It's
yeah,
like
but
+1 melee and blind or something like that.
mhm. Something like that. Again, I have no idea. Those are just kind of like the first couple of thoughts that came to my head because it's like we already have 4 mana summoners. There's 6 mana summoners within Untamed. I'm sorry, not Untamed, but within modern format, the only thing we really aren't going to have are 5 mana summoners,
Hmm.
because those were the legendary betas that will essentially be rotated out of modern format. So
Have they
yeah,
ever had
I don't
Have
know.
they ever had summoners as reward cards?
They've had two. They've had Daria and then they had Kretch.
Okay.
And so Kretch. So the thing is, in I think it was beta, there was that's when they had the epic summoners. Where let's see, actually, what's now? I'm curious. There were epic summoners that weren't rewards cards, but let's see, epic summoners. These guys were part of beta. Okay, so there were epic summoners in beta that were the 2 mana ones for 2 mana for each splinter with no abilities.
Okay.
And they didn't have one though for dragon. And so when Untamed rolled around with the Untamed rewards cards, they released Kretch, who was a 3 mana no ability summoner. So I feel like he's kind of part of that set, but he's going to be part of new like the modern format as well, because he's like all the regular splinters get a 2 mana one and dragon gets a 3 mana one. So
Hmm.
whatever that ends up meaning.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited about it. There's the game. I feel like is opening up so much more now, and to see the rare summoners for modern format being somewhat formidable in many instances, and then I think Grandmaster Wrath has a lot of utility and can make things very interesting. Just gives me a lot of confidence that for newer players in the game who don't have all the untamed cards, they're going to be okay. We're going to be
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
We're going to be able to compete hopefully at the higher levels. Maybe not initially, but once the other legendary summoners start coming out, I think that there'll I don't know how you counter Kitty, but
No.
for everyone else, I think the competition is going to be highly palatable for most people, right? And my thought process is that there may be more focus on Chaos Legion in the future for tournaments. And we've seen that already in some tournaments here. There's modern, but there's also just some chaos only, because I feel like the jump between Untamed to Chaos was like the big jump that happened to show the growth in player base. And so now, as a way to kind of cater to the new player base, it's like, well, let's have a lot more chaos only tournaments until Rebellion is here.
Hmm.
And if Rebellion is planned to come out within the next year, which I think is possible for it to come out within the next year, it's only this time that we need to ride until Chaos Legion and Rebellion are going to be where a majority of the players sit.
Yeah. Do you think they're going to have the same amount of packs for Rebellion as they did for Chaos Legion, or do you think they might scale it down a little bit?
I don't think that they would ever scale it down. I mean, I think something drastic would have to happen in the game. So right now, I just feel like they're trending on track to sell out within a year. And whether they started their year in October through January, if we do sell out by the end of the year, as Agro is thinking like November, then to me, not to me, but to them, that's a successful like launch of their product, right? It lasted exactly how long they were going for, and they're not worried about where the player base is at or where it's going. If anything, I can see them scaling up, but that would be after probably the player base has some more exposure to it with a lot of these other games and projects that they're doing. But I can either see it being very similar, right? So maybe in the 15 to 20 million range. Um,
Okay.
but if the player base does a major jump again, then it could probably be higher than that. The thing is, and I know this is from like a vanity perspective, but I cannot see them reducing the amount, because that many would take that as kind of like an admittance of failure from the team. Not that they're not admitting their mistakes. I think they do a good job of that, but it's also like they're overcorrecting at that point,
Hmm.
because it's like we did too much, and now we don't believe in our ability to grow the player base and hit these numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that would shake a lot of investors' confidence.
So what do you think SPS price would do if they announced Rebellion might be SPS only, kind of like Rift Watchers?
Uh,
Would that be doable with 15 million packs as opposed to 3 million to make it SPS only?
well, that would be interesting. I think that they would still sell it. Well, they're still going to sell it for DEC, because that's no, they still have to sell it for DEC because their products are like DEC is backed by the products,
Yeah.
but they might do like at least with a pre-sale or whatever kind of sale that they do, where you get like a 10% bonus or 10% off, similar to
Oh,
what they did for
using
Chaos
SPS?
Legion. Yeah, using SPS, and they did that. They did that early on in Chaos Legion. Now I don't know if they did that because they were trying to give SPS more utility, or because DEC was way above its peg. But if they did it once, I can see them doing it again, and that could pump up the price of SPS, because people will want to buy in SPS at least for the first part of the sale.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. Rebellion's like too far off for me. Like
Yeah.
we haven't even
Yeah.
gotten Rift Watchers yet, and so I'm just happy we're gonna get Modern and Wild
Yeah.
later this week.
I'm just trying to decide what cards I want to pick up right now with everything being kind of in the slow phase. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I think I mentioned when you were on stream with Darkest Night that there's gold summoners now for under $20. That to me is
You,
just outrageous.
you pointed that out, and I was like, that is pretty nuts, considering that you only need, I think, like 22 of them to max out,
And
and
General
maybe even
Sloan
half
is
of
a
that for
powerful
gold.
summoner. So for him to be the cheapest one, I can't believe it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think people sleep on General Sloan, and I know, like, not perfect, but I keep maintaining that I have a high win rate with General Sloan, because it's very effective in certain cases.
Hmm.
And so, but again, maybe I should look up the actual stats on my win rate.
But yeah, now's the time for basically new players to be accumulating cards. So if you're new to the game,
Mm-hmm.
even if you don't have a lot of money to spend in the game, you're able to get a good start in bronze or silver at these prices. Don't wait too long for if and well, not if, when the market somewhat comes back and prices start trending up. You'd be like, oh, I wish I had bought when, summoners. Remember when summoners were $2 and cheaper, and summoners
Mm-hmm.
are all $5 plus when land comes out, which I think they will be, but
I,
we'll
I'll
see.
be I'll be honest. The way that things escalated with the last summoner, where someone came in and bought, or whether it's one person or whether it's the group, I think the effect is the same. But essentially came and bought 100,000 packs overnight, or within like
Hmm.
24, 36 hours. I'm just like, okay, well, there's definitely an appetite here, and things do have the ability to escalate quickly. Now everything is slowed down a bit, and so that gives me a moment to breathe, because I'm like, okay, well, I still have time. But when that happened, I was just like, if we're gonna see this start to happen more frequently and more quickly, right? So maybe we don't get up to only 100,000 packs left for the next summoner. Maybe this happens when we get to 200,000 packs left, and all of a sudden
Hmm.
everybody comes aping in because they've seen the stats, they know it's going to be good, and people are starting to smell, and or not smell, but like see the finish line, right, of where
Hmm.
we could finally be. part of me was just like, oh crap, is this where, someone like Darkest Night was like a
Yeah.
couple or like a year ago, where he's just like, I have time to like buy my kitties and Yodens, like they're only $20. And I'm just like, is this where, it could escalate just as quickly. And again, I'm not trying to create
Yeah.
unnecessary FOMO, but it did create a little bit of anxiety in me, because I'm just like, all right, well, it could happen in that way in the future. And so again, I don't know how long, and I'm hoping that we do get an extended, prolonged period of time where we're able to
Mhm.
kind of DCA our way into it.
Yeah, definitely you want a DCA. And like I said, I never thought when I started playing the game a year ago that you'd see summoners as cheap. I think when I started playing, the cheapest one was like $5 or $6, and that's for one.
Yeah,
And you need 5 to level up. So I'm like, that's 25, $30 just to get level 2. And
it's
what, silver,
yeah.
you need to have what, a level 4 summoner? I'm like, you're talking $125, $150,
Hmm.
just to get one summoner.
What leagues are your accounts in?
My main account is silver. I don't
Okay.
have all splinters leveled max for silver. I have a couple.
Okay.
My second account is kind of cross between bronze and silver. I think I'm going to stay in bronze. I think my strategy now is last day of the season, I'm going to hit silver. So the following season, I can collect silver chests
You
and
earn
then
silver
stay in
chest. Okay.
bronze. And then, like I said, my third account is bronze only. I just want to see what I can do with $10 in the account, not send it any help, and how far can we play before the credits run out?
I love it. I mean, so the thing is, I was doing something like that early on, but when I started, we were kind of at the height of euphoria back in October, and then just getting into the kind of like the downward spiral of DEC, as well as bot farms kind of sucking dry the pool and card values going lower. I lost all interest, because it's like, in bronze, I'd be fighting for this one chest, and I
Hmm.
probably end up with a potion, and it just wasn't wasn't
Yeah,
worth it.
yeah, it wasn't
Wasn't
worth
worth
it
it for
then.
me. But
No.
now I feel like the rank rewards has completely changed that, because you can get more. You got to put the work in, but you can
Oh.
definitely get and earn more. And I think it adds to the new player experience for sure.
My bronze account is by far my best account for daily rewards over silver.
Really? Okay.
Consistently. If you go back and watch my videos every day, I'm like, yep, is bronze going to beat silver? Yep, it did again. Yep, I got an
That's so
epic
funny.
in my bronze account. Oh, look, I've got a legendary in my bronze account. Oh, I got 350 DEC in my bronze account, and then
Is
silver
that
I'll
due to
get.
quantity? Are you getting more chests in bronze?
I usually average between 10 and 15 a day,
Okay.
and silver I'll get 10 or 12, so they're pretty close.
Okay.
But consistently, like in my silver account, I'll get 4 or 5 potions, I'll get 30 or 40 DEC, and 3 or 4 commons. And then in
Gotcha.
bronze,
Okay.
I'll usually get a couple of rares, occasionally an epic. I think I've pulled 5 epics in a month on my bronze account, 1 legendary. And I think in the first month, I got at least a couple thousand DEC, maybe 2 or 3,000
Nice.
DEC for a
Okay.
bronze account. But it's just funny because they're supposed to scale up, and mine seems to be the other way. So I don't know if that's the norm or if it's just, you know,
Well, I think the team still has some work to do in kind of refining the rewards, right? Because you feel it from bronze to silver, and I will tell you that the scale of it from like bronze to champion, for example, can
mhm.
be felt too. Sometimes it's just, I
Oh,
mean, like, I haven't gotten a legendary card in any of the champ chests that I've opened, but I
I
got one in a bronze chest that I opened.
yeah, I've seen some of the higher chests open, and I'm like, oh my god, they opened the first chest and it's a potion. It's supposed to be a 12% drop rate. I'm like, oh no. And then the next one is like 48 DEC. I'm like, okay, so that would have been 1. And then the
One,
next
yeah.
one's 96. Okay, that would have been 2. I'm like, oh, I
I
feel
mean,
for those
most
guys.
of the champ chests I open are common rewards cards, and
Common
so I
cards.
can I can grind for like 5 or 7 like a day, and it's just like,
Uh-huh.
okay, well, now I just made 7 cents, right? Because these cards, like,
Now,
these
now
cards
see,
collectively are worth a penny each.
Now, see, if you had a locked loot chest and you open it at champion, you cannot get common cards. You cannot
There
get
you
rare
go.
cards. They're epic, legendary, or gold.
I like it.
Oh,
I love the ideas, man. So we can go ahead and wrap up here. Unfortunately, I got to go and take care of some things,
okay.
but I appreciate you coming through and sharing some of your ideas. If you could give folks once again where they can find you, and I will make sure to link all of
Yep.
that in the comment or the
Yeah.
description below.
Yeah. I was gonna say I'll give you the links so you can put that in the description. Yep. My channel is my name, Gathering the Magic. I upload videos daily. Usually it's just one video. I'll go across my 3 accounts, go through my daily rewards.
Hmm.
End of season's coming up, what, a day? One more day till end of
Yeah, it's coming
season?
up soon.
So I will have probably another video wrapping up my season rewards, and also I'm going to do a monthly recap. So I'll recap the entire month of July so far, so you can see across my 3 accounts how I'm progressing. And at some point in the future, I'll be putting out more content, more ideas, thoughts on the game, that kind of thing. So stay tuned. We're just getting started here.
Awesome. Well, best of luck with it. You are welcome back anytime, my friend. And guys, make sure to go check out and support Gathering the Magic's channel. Keep an eye out in the description below for direct links there. Gathering the Magic. Have an awesome rest of your day, man.
All right. Thank you so much. Look forward to talking to you again. And guys, make sure you reach out to Aftersound. If you have any ideas or want to get on the stream, come on in. I'd love to hear you guys.
It's super easy. Just send me a DM. That's all you got to do. All right. Take care.